keep ourselves very convenient throughout the course. We'll now start concentrating on a different deviation of the process. From here, what we are trying to see are absolutely standards what your industry definitely expects from you. Now, from here onwards, what is your time you can spare with respect to your Oracle, that totally depends on you. Now, before we start up with the next level of the process in operations, what we can conduct in Oracle, we just try to keep ourselves on one area very seriously to understand what is the importance of the state of the quality that is demanded by the industry when we are trying to develop any applications. Now, one thing, if you just concentrate, quality is a buzzword of the world today. There was no such quality consciousness among the people who used to utilize any product or select any kind of device. But as a system of business started moving on, the first question what a customer today asks is, what is the reliability you can promise me for the product what you're developing? Even if you purchase a simple pen in the market, or even if we are having any roadside food also, we deal with the concept called as quality nowadays. So customer is more conscious about the quality. Customer is more conscious about the service that can be given by the company with respect to the policy and the priority of the product or the kind of device or the service what is trying to take. Technically, there are cases where once upon a time I used to find in this particular markets, like when the markets are moving on in a different style, we used to find every student asking a question like, I will do this course, will you give me guarantee of job? That is one kind of expectation from the customer. Means when you are considered as a customer base, then definitely you may have your own expectations. Saying that a customer is in need of this, is in demand of this. No, for every specific product what we are trying to work on, we generally ask the capability, reliability and the ability of the product. So like you're purchasing a fan that you want to really keep on your head, you definitely may ask like, will this fan will be sufficient for me for a room that is about 10 plus 10, 10 by 10, and how much of efficiency I will have when it is summer? Because I'm really worried about in summer, can I expect the fan to be going at the same speed such that I can just feel the flexible, I can just feel the ambience of what I'm expecting out of it. So, for every product we try to take in the markets today, definitely we use one word called as quality icons. When you're developing softwares also, you can't just keep this word aside. In software side, quality is a very abstract component. It's a very virtual component. Why? Because if you're purchasing any bulb in the market, let us say, you'll say like, please show me whether the bulb is working or not. So he just puts the bulb into the plug and he just shows you. If you are even purchasing a small resistor, which could be costing you anything around, suppose say, some 10 or 15 rupees, let us say, an electronic student, an hobbyist, is purchasing a resistor. He says like, show me the connectivity of the resistor, whether it's working or not. What's the guarantee that it's internally not short circuited? We are purchasing a capacitor, let us say, which could be only 0.2 microfarads or whatever. We just say like, show me whether it's getting charged or not. Means, even for a type of implementation, what we are trying to consider nowadays, we definitely say like, please get me the quality. So, for any physical products that are existing in the markets, definitely there is some kind of quality factor what we associate. So any product in the world can be tested for quality immediately. Means it's a component what can be tested. They just watch very carefully. There was no such concept called as what you find in automobile industries today. When they are selling their cars, they'll say like, we'll give you a drive. You can test a drive. You can take your own test drive. So technically they'll ask like, do you know how to run the car? Yes. Okay, you can take the test drive and check what is the efficiency of this particular car. When the customer is being satisfied, saying that if you run this car, any model of this car will be same. If you just want to find out, you can find out. Means the shopkeeper is investing some amount of petrol on that. And a vehicle that is costing anything not less than 7 to 8 lakhs, he has kept it aside for the sake of test drive. So these are some compositions definitely when we try to means from a small product to a very big product, the customer today says like, I want to know the quality of this product before I purchase. So when we come into the software and where the difficulty arises, software is not something like you can eat and check the quality factor. With any of your five senses, you can't feel the software. That's one of the biggest problem of the software compositions. When it is operating, when it is running, while its running state of the operations are conducted, then only we can feel whether it's giving quality or not. Then there are cases where the software could be working in a wonderful way for 4 years. In the 5th year, one of my requirement, what I want, the software may not give me. Means I'm identifying that the quality of the software is lost after 4 years or 5 years. That's where the softwares become very tendency complicated to discuss on the concept of quality. So how many number of times you can definitely say that this product can be taken as a quality of factor. There are few areas in the world for which quality cannot be spoken so easily. Otherwise software is more volatile. Software is definitely more abstractive. Software is really virtual. You can't promise it. There are no doubt other kind of fields are also there. Technically. So benchmarking becomes definitely a concept of the industrial standard today. So whenever you are dealing with the composition of the benchmarking standards, you should always check that benchmarking becomes one of the practicality of the system. So what is exactly this benchmarking policy now? Benchmarking is nothing but a state in which we want to accept that particular product, that it is going to work in that particular state continuously when I am operating it. No particular product can be warranted for lifelong. Definitely every product has wear and tear. But at the rate of the product, say like I invested some 5 lakhs, maybe I may expect a service up to say like 5 years minimum. So in this way, how much of state you can promise? The most difficult areas where we can promise the quality and the existential applicability of products. If you take it, software becomes the first one. The second is a pharma. So like a medicine has been researched and it has been invented. Notice the pharmaceutical company is saying that if this medicine is used, it is going to cure the disease. How dare the person who is taking that medicine for the first time should have now? Now definitely the pharma people may say that we have tested this medicine on 1000 samples. 1000 samples of what? Not human beings, I hope so. If you say 1000 samples, those 1000 samples are living or they are already dead. Suppose they are human beings. Because after killing 1000 people, you are giving me this drug now. What is the guarantee that I will not kill 1001? So pharma industries also face this particular type of problem. So at least we have a criteria there where we can test the medicine on the animals. Maybe it's any human. But apparently human beings' existence is killing other people only. So I will kill an animal for sake of my medicine. Animal is not killed. I will believe that I will be definitely. It's one kind of culture what we had in our dynastic state itself. If a king is about to eat the food, it seems that at a point of time, one soldier in the king's army should eat the food first. If the soldier is not dying, the king will then eat that particular piece of the food. So it is one culture we have developed, means it secured the state of a human being. Quality consciousness comes in that particular practice. The second basic area where you can take is the medical researchers. Imagine GE has designed one gadget and it is saying that if this gadget is fixed into the human being's body, it will definitely control the heart rate of the human being. What is the guarantee that that particular gadget, which is a simple electronic device, can be giving some extra additional instructions where the heart could be going beyond the expected scope of its speed? How we can prove it? So for all these systems, maybe we can have some kind of prototype. When you come to the software side, working prototype is very difficult to do. Why? Because especially in applications, and I'm not talking on product side, but especially in application side, domain to domain, business to business, client to client, customer to customer, the requirements will change, the standards will change. No two banking projects can ever be same, even though they are of the banking type. Because according to my business, I will standardize my particular properties. I may standardize my particular process and business rules. So, for any software application what you are developing, quality becomes consciousness definitely, where you are demanded to increase the integrity and quality of any particular database at the time of its design. Now when we say integrity, what we mean actually? Integrity just means that there are three properties what it has to satisfy: soundness, wholeness and correctness. If these three properties are satisfied by any particular software, what I am expecting, or any kind of product that is existing in the world, what I am expecting, then I can definitely say that there is some quality behind that particular piece of the product and integrity is satisfied. When I say soundness, what it means? Every operation that is conducted on that particular process should be relevant to the situation that is demanded to the process only. So, it is something like a sale has been executed, a sale process was completed, and then later on it was identified that the process of the sale was having some kind of difference in the actual amount and the products that are given. Then who conducted the sale? I am not having any information about it. There is nothing but called as, we lost the soundness of the transaction called as sale. You are having one sale operation that is conducted, you are having some products that have gone out of your organization, you are definitely having some amount of money that is collected, but there is a difference in the product to the money that has been collected. You want to know who conducted that particular sale in your organization, where you have some 15 salesmen in your company, but you are unable to find out who has executed it. That is where we say the soundness of the system has been lost. Means one property of the integrity is lost. Any one of the property of the integrity is lost. Quality is definitely lost. The second thing is wholeness. Wholeness in the sense, I am basically trying to execute one sale. When I executed my sale, I gave some products out of my particular company to my particular customer. Then automatically when the sale is completed, the salesman details are to be collected. The products that have been given should be subtracted from the main inventory and the inventory stock has to reduce. And the money that has been collected should immediately increase my bank balance or current capital of the system. And if any product is below the actual reorder level, then automatically a purchase order instruction should go to the purchase department. Purchase department people should immediately identify that and they should identify the suppliers who are best suitable for that product. If all these activities are happening one after another with interconnection, there is nothing but called as the wholeness. Means for one process to get completed, whatever kind of combination of work should be done, that entire work should be completed. That is called as wholeness. Third is basically correctness. I don't think I need to tell you about the correctness. So whenever I am trying to work out with my process of sale, my actual stock before the sale was 1000. The product I sold in one of the sale was 100. When the inventory stock is getting reduced, the inventory stock should be reduced by 100 units, showing 900. But for one of the salesmen it's showing the stock as 900. For the other salesman it is showing the stock as 1000. Then we have lost definitely the wholeness of the correctness of the system. So for any specific software application you are developing, this integrity plays a very important role. Now there are cases, I generally get questions from the students like, sir, I am just a fresher, will industry expects all these things from me? I will tell you one very simple fact about an Indian industry. In Indian industry, if you want to survive, you should know everything. Actually, to be frank enough, Indian software industry is 100 times more tough than any other country in which you work as a software engineer. This is a fact. If you are technically strong, you can survive in any other country as a software engineer. But in Indian industry, technical skills plus administration skills plus managerial skills, plus project management skills, plus maintenance skills, plus service support skills, plus customer handling skills, In this way, everything Indian industry expects. Else you can't survive. Be very, very sure about these issues. In any other country, let me tell you very frankly, your experience goes on increasing. Resigning the company today and getting the job tomorrow is peanut. It's a peanut effort in other countries. But in Indian industry, as your experience goes on increasing, you want to leave the current job and you want to get the next job. You will become tight in your pants automatically. Be very clear about that. You can't even take that, but you can't take. The simple reason is, the next company will be definitely not considering you if you have only technical skills. For those people keeping experience in your resumes, I'm making it very clear. Therefore, Indian industry says how many skills you have, and many Indians we misunderstand skills as how many softwares we know. It's not how many softwares you know. To work in the software industry, how many different areas of the software development and management you know very well. So, there's a drastic difference between the expectations of the European Western markets from a software engineer to the Indian markets. First understand this. Especially South Asian markets, they look like that. That's the only simple reason the Western and European people, they migrate their software projects to our country. It's not because they have great love and affection towards us. The only simple reason is we are considered to be the cheapest labor in the world in software side. So, whatever I am discussing from now onwards are nothing but multiple skills you are going to add into your databases side. That's why in yesterday's class itself I concluded, from here onwards, I will never care who is listening, who is not listening to the sessions, because if I consider you as students, then definitely I don't need to go too serious on these issues. If I am considering you that you are professionals and you are intellectuals, you are trying to get your jobs into the system, then I need to be more serious than you. Therefore, who follow, I'll consider them that they are professionals who really want to be part of the system. Who doesn't follow, I will leave them. Why? Because I can't carry you. Therefore, till last class what has happened is a state of an educational system for a student only. But from now, I don't think I can give myself like that. So, you need integrity, you need quality or not, that you decide. But if you ask me, I say, what we are demanding in our Indian system, everything to that level we are going to see from now onwards. So, you're a fresher, you're not a fresher, we don't care. But today the system always checks how many number of different skills you can keep with you and you can keep your leg into the industry such that I can take maximum amount of services from you. It is not the small company or the big company, all companies have the same standards. We may speak many different things on the papers, but in the internal culture of the company, it's very different, I'm telling you. You knock the door of the companies like Infosys, you knock the door of the companies like Wipro, or you knock the door of the companies like TCS. What we speak on the papers is not exactly what we take as services in the industry after you enter into those four walls of the system. So, how much of quality you can give? It depends. You just started, I hope so. So when you come to the concept of data integrity, the most important point you should always remember, data integrity is a state. Data integrity is a state. I am making my point very, very clear. When we are saying data integrity is a state, state is changeable or non-changeable? It's always changeable. So see the challenge that lies behind a software developer in the real time. For a state that is seriously changing and for a state that will be definitely changing, a software developer has to promise the priority and the criteria of the application. Means tomorrow when the state is about to change, how many number of times you can write a program that is ready for change? Today what is available for that you are planning? That's okay. The day after tomorrow my requirements may change. Day after tomorrow my service expectations may change. Day after tomorrow something else may change. Can your application work for those changes what I am expecting? Please just imagine the challenge that lies behind the software engineer's actual career. How many times we write a program that is technically ready for a change that can be demanded. And whenever that change comes in, is your system is going to work or it's going to fail? Is it ready for extension or is not ready for extension? These are all things if you are not planning and if you are coming into the system of the software side, you'll definitely have a greatest nightmares in the world. Therefore, what we try to speak in the classrooms is not exactly what is there at the system of implementation. Because reality is 100 times very different than the concept and the subject what we try to see from the classrooms. That's what I simply say. An experienced pilot speaking about how to run a aeroplane with respect to mid-air of the process is very easy. He can just simply draw a cockpit diagram and he can give you one dashboard and he can just tell you what are the different kinds of meters that are available on the panel. He can just tell you where the criteria of joystick will come down. On the joysticks, the 4 or 5 buttons what he has, he can definitely explain which one is for sake of lift and which one is for sake of drag. And he can even tell you how to control the rudder and what kind of component you need to really take care of the cutter process. And then how exactly you need to keep your inclination state with respect to the landing of your particular plane or takeoff of your plane. Everything looks very fascinating. And you can just simply say that in one single state of as an acceleration, we can definitely make a jet aeroplane to reach anything not less than 400 miles per hour also. And it's really an enthusiastic experience, man. And it's so simple, you know. We have all the things available and we cannot have any expectation of accidents also because we don't have any friction state of the road. It's just flying like that. Very wonderful experience. But the moment you're kept into the cockpit, you'll understand what is your problem. Therefore, speaking about a system is not difficult. An experienced heart surgeon talking to his particular students in a class of anatomy regarding how an open heart transplantation can be done by explaining every component of the operational state and is just proceeding. All the students are saying he has given a vision of how the operation can be done. When I really saw the dream of as if I was doing the operation. That's true. But I really gave you a patient who is very critical and is about to die in another 4 hours and your operation should be done for 6 hours actually and you have to make the patient to live now. And I gave you the scalpel and said, start the operation. Definitely I hope so you will run away. So, state is changing. When the state changes how many times? When the doctor was explaining the heart surgery, he was explaining the heart surgery in ideal state. But I gave you one patient who definitely will die if operation is not conducted in 4 hours, but actual operation will take place for 6 hours. The operation time is 6 hours, but the patient's life is only 4 hours. Now make the patient to live and show me. When the state has changed, how your brain can work now. See, people come into the software industry thinking that I will write a program. Gentlemen, it's not as simple as you write programs in your classrooms. It's not as simple as you listen to your faculty since I practice 5 or 6 programs. Especially for people keeping experience, I'm telling you, don't keep any unwanted dreams and enter into the software industry. Sir, my friend is already working, he doesn't know anything. Ask him very seriously what he is doing there first of all. Maybe the company has kept him because he is better staying there only. So, everybody who goes in through the door, through the gate of Infosys is not a software engineer. When the same security guard also goes from there only. The person who cleans the washroom also goes from that door only. You don't have any separate door for any washroom guy separately. He has to show his ID card and he has to enter from there only. Everybody is cross-checked from top to bottom definitely. The president also goes from there only. The secretary also goes from there only. The peon, chaprasi and the pocha guy also goes from there only. So will you say that everybody is Infosys only? Everybody who enters the door of Infosys is Narayana Murthy, then who is Narayana Murthy then? So, don't try to make a comparison by with somebody saying that, sir, my friend said, people say many things, and the only object in the whole world that can tell wonderful lies is human being, I hope so. Did you find any time dog telling a lie? No. That's the reason we say it's a faithful animal. Did you find any time donkey telling any lies? Never. Did you find any time a cock or hen telling a lie? No. Exactly when the time comes, it will give you the egg, definitely. Did you find any time a hen comes and saying that I laid the egg, but egg is not there? Never. Exactly early morning in the 4 o'clock, you go and start milking the cow, it will give the milk, definitely. Cow will never say that I drank my own milk. But human being can say that. So the only object in the world that can tell lies is human being. How you can believe that object called as human being so easily, I hope so. Nursery is my friend. Friend is a guy who can tell the best lies, I hope so. If your enemy is there, he'll never tell you lies. So, don't compare the process. That's what I say, 80% software engineers will live in a fantasized world, thinking that it is so simple in my criteria. When you face the state, you'll understand what is the difficulty behind it. So, the most difficult thing in software side is integrity management, and integrity management is a state. So whenever the state changes, the challenge is what here? Whenever the state is changing, in that particular state, you should promise me all the data values stored in the database are definitely correct. Whenever the state is about to change in my system, how many times you can promise me that you will definitely give me a system where the data values will never change and they will never outbeat the process of requirement of the business. And how this particular quality can be promised. So there is a concept called as enforced data integrity. Enforced data integrity means what? We go for this enforced data integrity for what purpose? That word called as enforced, how much it is stressing you should understand. Enforced data integrity ensures the data quality in the database. So when you're saying ensuring the data quality, that is where the client is very much. Therefore, enforced in the sense, you are never having any choice in your hands. What level of quality you should give, what length of quality you should give. It is the senior architects, the senior DBAs, the senior analysts of the system who are continuously in communication with the client will force the quality in the database. Will force the quality in the overall system. Therefore, one simple thing what I want to say is, especially for the people who are trying to enter into the software industry for the first time, maybe you are a person keeping experience and you are entering, or maybe the freshers. What is the point I want to tell you is, quality management is not in your hands. Quality achievement is your responsibility. What level of quality you have to give is managed by the senior DBAs, architects and the analysts. So, definitely you are having somebody sitting on your head, guiding you to achieve the quality. You can't escape out of it. Be very, very sure about this. See, the world goes on like that, but you need to understand. Say, like, I'll tell you one simple concept. Can we consider Sony as one of the best company in the world? Yes. Quality wise, do you have any complaints you can raise on Sony?
Yes.
But you know one thing? In Sony also, when they manufacture any product, they manufacture the product in 5 different ways. Products that should be shipped to India, they'll come with one type of quality standard. Products that should be shipped to US, they'll go with another kind of quality as standard. Products that should be shipped to Nepal, they'll go in another kind of quality standard. Products that should be shipped to Europe, they'll go with another kind of quality standard. And for every product that is manufactured there, on the consignment you will always find, whenever you are moving on with large scale consignment of Sony, products only to be sold for India. Mean they have kept the products with what level quality Indians are expecting to finish. Not anything more than that. Means quality is by demand. Quality is not by service. Remember that. Quality is by demand, not by service. The world works on that way. You can't just go like that. Therefore, it is enforced. When we say it's enforced, you can understand that word, I hope so. By force, the quality is taken. But why it's enforced? Because client demands. My client is definitely demanding it. If my client is not demanding it, then I don't need to think so seriously about it. That's where you should understand. See, you don't need to go for any top level MNCs in the world. You take your own culture, the way you demand, the same way the courses will be conducted here. You don't have a demand for quality on the course, it may not be really given. Why? Because the client is not putting a demand. Because quality always needs more investment. Quality always needs more research. Quality always needs to be spent for time of implementation. Quality needs everything to be benchmarked and it has to be tested. All these components, if a client is really expecting, then he has to definitely take quality by time. He cannot take quality as he likes. That's what you should understand. If you're ordering one automobile, in how many days you can take your automobile into your house? Almost till today it's so simple. I don't think anybody is going for registration of an automobile anywhere unless it's not a new model. The running model, if you have money, you have a credit card or you have a check, you can directly go and take the delivery within half an hour. The same kind of car, if suppose say like a premium celebrity is trying to go for, then definitely the car is not delivered in a simple way. Why? Because he puts his demand like he wants it in this kind of quality. Then company has to specially work out on it. Say like I'm expecting the same car which is purchased by a normal common man is basically for the sake of one chief minister of any particular state, then definitely that car has to be remodeled once again for the sake of security, scalability and definitely some other kind of issues, and it has to be made bulletproof or mine-proof. Then I think I have to put more amount of time into it, more amount of R&D into it, and then I have to put more amount of cost into it. Quality always demands few things, but that customer also should be ready. Quality demands absolutely investment in capital. Quality demands investment in research. Quality demands investment in manufacturing time. Quality definitely depends and demands the criteria of the situation for which it is being used. Therefore, when you are taking anything in the world, that's a criteria, that's it. So, it is enforced. Quality by enforcing. Major number of software engineers, they don't like their life after working for 5 or 6 years in the industry. Why? Because they'll come to one consciousness like, what is in my life? Somebody tells and I have to do it. And why that somebody is telling me to do like this, I don't know. Yes. That somebody is getting controlled by the other person who says, I want like this. Finally, it's the client. I think we started our first class when we gave the definition of the data and information with this, I hope so. So, anybody who's sitting in this class, you're expecting that you just want to knock the door of the industry saying that you have known or you have learned Oracle. I don't think survival will be very difficult, very easy for you. It is going to be difficult because are you coming into the system to the rule of the quality that is demanded? So, your quality will be directly proportional to the time what you have spent in understanding the technology. This is something you should understand in a scientific way, that's it. So, when you come to the integrity comes in theory in 4 ways. One is entity integrity, the next is domain integrity, the third is referential integrity, the fourth is user-defined integrity. If we are seriously speaking on this integrity as a fact, and I can always tell you one thing, it is not going to be as simple as we discuss in the classes. Why? Because there is one system, there is one kind of methodology that can give you these integrities, and we call such kind of area of concentration as system analysis and design. I think it is one that is highly missed in these classrooms and highly ignored in these kind of classrooms. Sir, why? See, when the course is kept into a capsule of students saying that I want it 40 days, 45 days, no wonders can happen. I can definitely tell you about that. Why? Because when the student dictates the syllabus and the student dictates the time, then I don't think we can give industrial exposure to that. Industry is very different from the classrooms from where you came from your colleges. The same kind of standard the student expects from once again these classes. Then what is the difference between your academics and these training centers? So each one is an ocean of information we can have. So for all these things to happen, there is one specific kind of subject, or rather than saying it's subject, I say there is one specific kind of concept of practicality which is called as system analysis and design, system of modeling and prototyping. So your seniors are always working on those standards first. And then the system is coming at your level of representation for programming. You have to program the way I am expecting. But why I am expecting that, I don't need to give you reasons. But when you program something, I will test it, and if it is not looking suitable to my requirement, I'll reject it. So, when you come to the concept of the process, every integrity has its own standardizations. Now I just want to keep your concentration to the process where giving definition to these integrities is not a big issue. But what I personally feel is, rather than me giving the definition, if it is you who can understand what is exactly meant by the state called as entity integrity or domain integrity, you are going to remember the things more better. Now I'll give you the definition, I'll make you some clarification, and then you are going to work and you are going to finalize. I'll only support you. This will be the methodology what we will be following from this chapter. So the mechanism of our training also changes from this chapter. Be very clear about that. Your participation and involvement is not happening, then definitely I think you will be the losers, because I will finalize the issues only with your contribution and participation. So if we are not participating, I will leave the process half the way. So if you leave the process half the way, then what to do? Go into the industry with half knowledge only. So remaining half knowledge from where we should get now? You should get from anywhere you like. Because I am not going to pamper you on the process. So you are seriously working in serialization with the process. So when you come to entity integrity, its major concentration is what? Entity integrity's major concentration is to see that every record that is existing in the database table is absolutely unique by nature. So its major concentration is to finalize that the row or the record that is existing in that particular table, it is definitely unique by nature when compared with the next row that is existing. So, entity integrity is always enforced in practicality. Maybe when your softwares are providing you anything like a primary keys or uniques that are available, that is software based issue. I am not talking on that side. There are rules, there are very serious mechanisms to plan how an entity integrity should come into your project. I am not taking you to the whole lot of system analysis and design and data modeling. I am giving a thumb rule. Now relevant to thumb rule, you should catch up on the process. Sir, I want to seriously be part of the system analysis side in my career and or system architecting side in my career, then I think your journey just started. But there's how many number of other skill sets you can start adding. Oracle is not going to make you become or get into the fields of system analyst positions or system architect positions or any other kind of business management or project management aspects are concerned. They are totally different kind of cultural standards. But you need to start up from here very properly to understand what exactly you are trying to do. Your entity integrity is a theoretical state demanded in the system. When it is basically demanded in the system, it's basically expected to be implemented. In software side of the databases, entity integrity is enforced by declaring a concept of the primary key or unique. Therefore, every student who learns Oracle or who learns any database management systems in the world can implement the primary key. I'm really not worried about that part, because primary key or unique is definitely something what a programmer will know and he should know, because in the classrooms we have to give you definitely examples on that. But my question for all the heads that are giving at least a year of experience and who are moving is, how many number of times if a question comes to your project, when you gave that this is the table that is existing in my project, you gave a reason very effectively. The actual concentrative methods that made you identify such a column as a primary key. Sir, I can declare a primary key. 1,000 people who learn Oracle can declare it, not only you. Can you give the reason in your table why that column only is the primary key? Why not some other column? What reasons made you to declare that column as a primary key when you are trying to move in? What are the actual compositions on which you were concentrating to finalize that particular column as a primary? These things, if you can give us an answer, then you will be having a great survival. So, we need to understand the standard of the processment. You first decide you want to work for Indian software industry or you want to work for any Western or European side. Okay, so that's up to you. But I think every Indian will have one dream. Once in my life I should sit in the flight, cross all the 7 seas of the world, and then definitely land in some particular country which the people say it's a paradise of the world, then come back. All the things are really good. But how many people are given this on-site responsibility always? You are technically very strong. You can always make an attempt to be part of the other countries and you can work there. With one simple skill of understanding foreign English properly. But that will be one kind of life, that's it. But when you come to the process of Indian systems, you are never given any promotion or any hike in your process until you don't have almost all technical and non-technical, managerial, administrative skills attained. Therefore, it's a very tough stage to survive in our system. It's very easy to survive in the other systems of the world. Because in those countries, you're a management guy, prospectively, then only you're put into management. But here it's not like that. Therefore, you need to be, you can say like, sir, I know how to declare a primary key. It's very easy to work in any other country, I can say. But in Indian system, if you say, I know primary key, definitely the question that comes is, in interview rooms of India is, how did you decide that is a primary key? The same question comes from a company that is recruiting you for US or Europe. They'll simply ask you, if you say, I know how to declare a primary key, okay, in how many ways a primary key is declared? At column level, what is the syntax you follow? At table level, what is the syntax you follow? Can we have multiple columns in the primary key? Means the question is going purely on what technical factors. There's a great lot of difference between the interview patterns between the company to company, the client to client and all. So how many times you're getting ready for the process? Therefore, understanding entity integrity is different. Declaring entity integrity is different. Analyzing the requirements to understand why it is an entity integrity is different. Therefore, there are three different kinds of scalabilities, but as far as this market is concerned, we will be concentrating only on what one, how to declare a entity integrity. So, we will also declare an entity integrity, don't worry, by going with some primary key declarations, what I have to show you. But the rule of the primary key, what we do say just now, entity integrity said that its state is to check that every row in the table is unique by nature. Now, when we say unique, there are some wrong notions among beginners that when two records are compared, every column that is being compared between both the records should be definitely different by value. That is one kind of notion we have. It's wrong. When you say uniqueness, the concept is so simple. If n number of columns are there in the table, and if two records are in comparison, between these two records in comparison, at least one column should be having a different value when compared to the other four columns that are there. One column is enough. If any one of the columns, if 5 columns are there in my table, 2 records are in comparison, 4 columns have the same data, but one column is having different data. It is unique by nature. In this way, if every record in the table is unique by nature, then we will say that the table is in which state? No, entity integrity state. So let us just try to confirm, are you able to catch the entity integrity finally? I am not interested in uniqueness very seriously. So I am giving some data in front of you. In this table I am having 5 columns. And when I am giving my first record, only first record is there in my table, let us say. Do I have any controversy of uniqueness? No. You will always remember one thing. Quality is a component of concentration only by comparison. Quality is only a component of comparison, component of concentration by comparison. Comparison is not there. Nobody in the world will speak about the quality factors. See, when the global world has started, people started changing their lifestyles, thinking that that is the better and this is the worst. And a great lot of gap has arisen between the human beings and their systems, I can say. But I do remember, long back when Indians were not having any cultural idea of other countries, we never had any migrations and were living in our own system. But the whole village, if one head was there, and in that particular head's house, if anything like a car is there or anything else is there, the other families of the village had no comparisons over there. Because that state of comparatives was not considerable. Why? Because when a system comes into the operation, the whole village used to become one and they used to work for a team spirit of completing that particular task. So quality and differences will come only on the comparative state. There is no other object along with me, then why I will compare of my particular existence? That's where when you come to the quality, first understand, quality is always a conscious concentration by comparison only. Therefore, you don't know how to compare two different objects and find the differences. How you can find the quality between the products? Now, can you tell me the unit of measure for quality? Can you tell me the unit of measure for quality? Meters, kilometers, liters, or grams, or watts? Can you tell me any parameter that is going to dictate the quality? Parameter, specific parameter or parameters that dictate the quality. The most difficult thing in the world to give definition of these things. Quality has no unit of measure. Quality cannot be fixed to one particular parameter. Be very, very clear about that. Where you can always find two friends went into the same restaurant, ordered the same food, came outside. One said, "It's awesome. I never had such a kind of taste." The other guy said, "That's the most worst I have seen in my life." Both the people are having the same tongue, I hope so. And both the people are having the same number of taste buds, I hope so. Both are human beings only, having the same neural system with the same interconnected brain state. But why the basic state of the quality is a difference between these two objects? Therefore, every object will look into the quality by its parameters. By its parameters. If parametrical state is not changing, then I can tell you one thing very clearly in our lifestyles, man. Why today we need Van Heusen and Peter England on the board even? Why the local tailor is not enough for us? Why we really think of Reebok under the shoe, select under the legs, and basically something that is very costly like the polish on your particular eyes as goggles? Any two-wheeler which is having some round circular shape can take you anywhere in your life now. Then why is it that we have so many different kinds of bikes in the world? And definitely I think even the cycles have changed nowadays. One simple concept, to my experience I'll tell you, a cycle means a commodity that could be costing not more than 1,000 rupees. Well, the world has changed. I can definitely say. The other day, when my elder son was saying, compelling me like, I want the cycle. When I went to one of the showrooms, basically it's a trend that has become now, we should take it from the showrooms. So when I went in, that guy was showing one cycle. I asked him, what is the cost of it? He said, 1.5 lakh, he said. I thought like, if I can just spend another 50,000 properly, then I can just definitely get one car I hope so, which is the lowest model. Then I asked the guy, what is so speciality about this cycle? Then he said, sir, you don't feel like you're cycling. Then what is the use of cycling? When I can't feel that I'm cycling, then why I should take a cycle? He said, sir, it's a great demand, nowadays on this cycle. I said, like, okay, gentlemen, what is the guarantee you can give me if I park this cycle in some of the location, nobody will steal it? If it is my bike, it is ready to, even bikes are not having safety nowadays, and even cars are not having. What about my cycle? If anybody comes to know that my cycle is 1.5 lakh, then even the pedal of my cycle is enough for that guy only, not the cycle. This way, see, what I am trying to speak here is, the state of the object comes by the requirement of the end user. If quality is something, you can't just speak about it. It is a perspective of the vision in which we see. So, when you come into one system and you start programming, you may just feel that programming is some statements, instructions, declarations, assignments. No, it's not that. It's not that. If it is so simple, everybody in the world could be really a wonderful programmer. So, when you come to integrities also, it is a state of concentration. Therefore, you can't speak about comparison of failure when only one record is there. There should be some other object for comparison. There should be some object for comparison. So, when the second level of the object comes in, then state of integrity also gets compared. So, I just want you to speak, because it's your job now. I am having my first and second records. My first and second records in comparison, can you tell me whether they are unique or they are not unique? They are unique. By what? By course name. Definitely because of the course name, they are unique by nature. Yes. I am getting my third record into my table. Can you say that the third record and the previous two records are unique? Yes. By what? By the name. By the name. Yes or no? If you just watch carefully, by the name with respect to the previous two records, by the course with respect to the first record also. The uniqueness can be on multiple values, but at least one column should be considered. More than one is there, no problem, but at least one should be there. Now, coming to the fourth record, the fourth record is unique to the previous three. Yes. So technically the fourth is basically unique to the previous three. By what? By date of admission, seriously. Then the fifth record is unique to the previous four records. Yes, by date of birth, seriously. And whenever you are dealing with your sixth record, is it unique with respect to the previous five? Yes. By what? By post name. Maybe some other columns also could be there, okay? Major columns we are trying to concentrate. Now all these six records in this particular table are unique or they are not unique? They are unique. With respect to some column they are definitely unique. No two records are getting duplicated. Can I say this table is having entity integrity? Yes or no? That's where we should make a correction now. Okay? That's where we should come to the correction. That's where we said, whenever you come to the integrity, it is a state. We said very clearly, it is a state in which all the data values stored in the database are correct. So when you are coming into the process of this, you just watch. The six records, definitely I can say that they are unique. But in this table, can I promise, in future, if I add few more records, I can definitely give uniqueness for every record that will be inserted into this table on a span of a time? Definitely not. The simple reason is, you are managing uniqueness in this table by which column? Can you promise me? We are unable to promise. So uniqueness is shifting by some columns, yes or no? If this is happening, watch carefully. After 25 records have been inserted, mostly you don't have any kind of column that can give you a combination for uniqueness so easily. Means this table is promising infinite level of uniqueness, or it is promising only finite level of uniqueness? Finite level. But a project or any kind of real-time database is not for finite data. It should collect the business data throughout its life. So I cannot definitely promise uniqueness to this particular table after some number of records. Therefore, this table is promising me uniqueness in this state, but may not promise me uniqueness in the upcoming states. Whenever the state is changing also, if it is providing, then I will say it's having entity integrity. Understand the intelligence of the system analyst in real time. Means if he is proposing one table, is proposing the table in such a beautiful way, the table is promising the entity integrity, even if million records are collected, even if the project is expanded by other 100 records, other 100 tables. This kind of concentrative process is very important when we are planning any application. Be very clear. See, today that's the rule of the world actually. You go and check any commercial building that is constructed nowadays to the commercial buildings that were constructed 10 years back. You will find sky to earth difference between the construction. Today, in a central locality of an area, if a building is going for construction, the architect will directly ask the client who is having that particular area of the land, so for what purpose you want to utilize the building? You want it as domestic or commercial purpose? If you say like, this is in a prime locality where it could be domestic or it could be commercial, I just feel like I want both the ways. If a point of time comes, I want to make it domestic purpose, it should be ready for change. The point of time comes where I want to make it commercial, it should be ready to go for commercialization. Then the architect once again asks, so in commercial sector, can you define, you want this building for which area of the commercialization? Then you are saying that it's better when in such a way that tomorrow if somebody asks me this building for a hospital, it should be convenient for hospital people. If somebody asks me for a showroom of say like automobiles, It should be convenient for automobiles also. If somebody asks me for the sake of any retail outlet,